Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right? You're setting the goals, you're making the plans, you're hustling like crazy, but you still just end up completely exhausted, burnt out? Yeah, if that sounds familiar, you are in the right place. Today, we're going to look at a totally new recipe for success, one that helps us step off that hamster wheel and find a way to reach our goals that actually feels good and, sustainable. So let's just start with the big question, the one that so many of us have probably screamed into a pillow at some point. Why? Why do our best plans, our most genius strategies, so often lead us straight to burnout? It's this maddening cycle, isn't it? You go hard, you achieve something, and then you just crash. Well, we're going to unpack exactly why that keeps happening. I love this quote because it just perfectly nails the problem, right? You can have all the best ingredients in the world. You've got the ambition, the work ethic, a killer plan, but if you just throw them all in the oven in the wrong order, you get a gooey mess. You definitely don't get a cake. And it turns out success is exactly like that. It's not just about what you do, it's about the order in which you do it.
And that leads us straight into our first section here, the wrong recipe for success. We're going to talk about why our default setting to jump right into strategy is actually where it all goes sideways. So here's the typical playbook, right? We optimize for action. We think, okay, I just need to do more, I need to go faster, I need a better strategy. But that approach has a huge blind spot. It totally ignores our internal world, our energy levels, our emotional state, the fact that we're actual human beings. It's a recipe designed for sprinting until you slam into a brick wall. It's just not built to last.
Okay, so if the strategy-first approach is the wrong recipe, what's the alternative? Well, this brings us to the absolute core idea of this whole explainer. The secret isn't some newfangled tactic. The secret is sequencing. It's all about reordering our approach to get results that actually stick around. And here it is. This is the new recipe. It's called the SSS sequence. It goes safety first, then state, then story, and then, and only then, do we get to strategy. See how this completely flips the old model on its head? Action, strategy. It comes dead last, not first. It's a much more humane and, frankly, a much more effective way to operate. And just to really hammer this point home, think about this. The sentence, "the dog bit Johnny," tells a very, very different story than "Johnny bit the dog." All the same words are there, right? But the order, the sequence, changes absolutely everything. Well, it's the exact same principle with our own efforts. The sequence is everything. All right, so let's dive in. Let's break this sequence down, starting with the first and, honestly, the most important step, achieving safety through something called resourcing. Think of it like this. You've got to build a solid foundation before you can even think about building your empire. So what in the world is resourcing? It's actually super simple. It's any small thing you can do that helps your nervous system feel just a little bit more safe, a little more stable. It's not about solving all your life's problems in one go. It's just about giving yourself enough of a charge to function. It's literally like plugging in your phone when the battery's at 3%. You're not fixing your whole life, you're just making sure the device can turn on. Now, it's really, really important we're clear on what resourcing is and what it isn't. It is the on-ramp to action. It's a prerequisite to actually functioning well. It is not a detour from your goals or some kind of reward you get after all the hard work is done. And it's not about checking out or numbing yourself. It's the opposite. It's about becoming present enough to actually show up for your life. And the best part? It can be ridiculously simple. Seriously, we are not talking about a week-long silent retreat here. Resourcing can be as simple as drinking a glass of water, doing a couple of gentle stretches, sending a quick text to a friend who gets you, or even just doing one tiny little task, like washing one dish, to give yourself that little hit of, I did a thing. Okay, so once you have that foundation of safety, once you're feeling even a little bit resourced, then you've earned the right to move on to the next steps in the sequence: state, story, and strategy. This is where we start aligning our inner world to make a real impact on the outer world. So let's talk about state. This is your emotional and physiological state. And get this, research has found that people who are in a positive state at work are 31% more productive. 31%! That's huge. This isn't just some fluffy, feel-good idea. Managing your state has a direct, measurable impact. So once you feel resourced, you can then consciously do something to shift your state, maybe towards gratitude or focus or excitement. And from a good state, you can then take a look at your story. And by story, I mean the narrative you're telling yourself about your life, your work, your challenges. It's the frame you're using. Are you telling yourself a story that this is all possible? Or is your go-to story that it's impossible? Because that little story in your head, it determines everything. And only then, once you feel safe, you're in a productive state, and you're telling yourself a story that actually helps, only then does it make sense to talk about strategy. Look, strategy is massively important. We need good plans, but it's the final piece of the puzzle, not the first. Because a brilliant strategy, when you apply it from that solid foundation, is 1,000 times more powerful. Now, doing this once in a while is great, but to make this your new normal, you need more than just those in-the-moment actions. You need to build what we call your support scaffolding. These are the structures you intentionally create that make this whole new approach stick for the long haul. So, what exactly is scaffolding? Well, it's the framework, both inside you and outside you, that holds you up when things get wobbly. It's what's there for you when your motivation disappears, your emotions are all over the place, or life just decides to get chaotic. So if resourcing is plugging in your phone for a quick charge, scaffolding is having chargers already installed in every room of your house.
And man, the difference this makes is just night and day. Without scaffolding, you're stuck in that awful burnout cycle. You act, you overdo it, you crash and burn. Your progress is totally unpredictable. But with scaffolding, you start to build steady capacity. You create rhythms you can depend on. You have a predictable, reliable way to get back to feeling okay when things get tough.
So where can you even start? Well, here are 4 key types of scaffolding to think about building. You've got your foundational habits, things like sleep, water, moving your body. You've got your environmental structure, basically making the good choices the easy choices. Then there's your relational safety net, having a few people you can truly be real with. And the big one, systemic alignment, designing a life that actually works with your nervous system, not against it.
And all of this, all these pieces, they lead to the ultimate goal here, which is to create a system that holds you, a life that doesn't demand constant, heroic levels of energy just to function.
Let's be really clear about this. The point of all of this is not to become some kind of superhuman who can just handle more and more stress. The real goal is to design a system around yourself that is so supportive, so well-designed, that it doesn't require heroic energy from you every single day. It's about working smarter and a whole lot kinder on your own well-being. So, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. What is one small piece of scaffolding you could install in your life this week? Maybe it's putting a recurring alarm on your phone to go to bed. Maybe it's blocking out 5 minutes in your calendar for a walk. Just one simple thing to start building a system that can actually hold you. And we'll end with this final thought, which is such a powerful reframe. The next time you feel overwhelmed, burnt out, or just plain exhausted, I want you to remember this. Your nervous system isn't failing you. It's not a sign that you're weak or broken. It is simply asking for support. And now you have a much better recipe for giving it exactly that.